Now the focus shifts to something even more subtle yet more powerful than clicks or retention alone, the invisible layer that decides whether your content gets a chance to grow at all, the way your video is positioned in the ecosystem. Because YouTube is not just a platform of videos, it is a network of choices constantly competing for limited attention, and if your content does not clearly signal where it belongs, who it is for, and why it matters, the system struggles to understand it, and when the system is confused, distribution becomes weak no matter how good your content might be. Most creators make the mistake of chasing variety, thinking that more topics mean more opportunities, but in reality, it creates dilution. It weakens your identity, and when your identity is unclear, both the audience and the algorithm fail to recognize you, because recognition is built on consistency of message, not randomness of ideas. Positioning is about clarity, about defining a specific space where your content consistently delivers value, not in a broad, generic way, but in a focused, intentional direction that makes your channel feel predictable in a good way, where viewers know what they will get and return because of that certainty. This does not mean repeating the same content endlessly. It means exploring different angles within a defined theme, expanding depth instead of spreading wide, because depth builds authority and authority builds trust, and trust leads to consistent growth. When your content is positioned correctly, each video supports the next, creating a chain of relevance where one piece naturally leads to another, increasing watch time across your channel, and this interconnected structure is what signals strength to the platform. The audience begins to associate you with a specific value, a specific experience, and this association reduces friction in decision-making because the viewer does not need to evaluate every video from scratch. They already trust the outcome. And this trust accelerates clicks, improves retention, and strengthens overall performance, creating a loop where success feeds more success, not by chance but by design, because your positioning has aligned expectation with delivery. Another critical layer here is competition awareness, understanding not just what you create, but where it sits among similar content, what makes it different, what makes it stand out, and why someone would choose you over others presenting similar ideas. Differentiation does not always require something completely new. It often comes from perspective, from how you present familiar ideas in a way that feels fresh, relevant, or more engaging, and this uniqueness becomes part of your identity over time. Consistency in visual style, tone, and messaging further reinforces this identity, making your content instantly recognizable even before it is clicked. And this recognition increases the likelihood of engagement without additional effort. Over time, your channel starts behaving like a brand, not in the corporate sense, but in the psychological sense, where viewers develop expectations, preferences, and loyalty. And this loyalty is what stabilizes growth beyond individual video performance. But this level of positioning requires discipline. The willingness to say no to ideas that do not align, even if they seem trending or attractive, because short-term gains can weaken long-term clarity if they pull you away from your core direction. As you refine this approach, your content becomes sharper, more focused, more intentional, and the results begin to reflect that, not always instantly, but consistently, building momentum that feels controlled rather than accidental. You begin to notice that your videos are being recommended alongside each other, that viewers are watching multiple pieces in a row, that your channel is no longer dependent on a single viral moment but sustained by a system of relevance. Because in the end, positioning is what turns scattered uploads into a cohesive strategy. It is what transforms a creator into a recognizable presence, and once that presence is established, growth becomes not just possible, but repeatable, predictable, and far more powerful than anything driven by chance alone.